guys, welcome back to this week's podcast. So this week I have a very special guest, my best friend Tiffany.
Hi!
Listen, we need to talk about relationships, and we will be giving you advice on relationships in high school, after high school, before high school, all of that stuff. Anything that you need to know.
Yep.
Let's first talk about value. And why do you think it's important to know your value entering into a relationship?
For me personally, in order to love someone else, you have to love yourself first. Figuring out who you are and knowing how much you're worth, because, ladies, we're worth a lot. And until you can't find that, I don't necessarily think it would be easy to love someone else.
I definitely learned that in high school. I come before somebody else, that I have to learn to love myself, know what I'm worth before entering a relationship, so that way you know that you're worth it no matter what happens in the relationship, whether it succeeds and you end up getting married or whether you break up because of who knows what.
For sure.
A lot of people say, love at first sight or whatever. Do you believe in that? What are your thoughts on true love?
You can be into so many people in your life. You can find so many guys and you can be in so many relationships, but I think if you find that one person, it's not just I definitely think if you're unsure about the person and you're unsure about your happiness, it's definitely not your true love. True love with the person, I think that looks like you love each other unconditionally.
Going through high school for me, I felt like it was a lot of just messing around and find whoever you can and just mess around. But now that I'm older, I'm kind of learned, now I'm kind of dating for marriage.
Yeah.
I'm dating to find somebody who might actually love me. Whether that was in high school or not, I think that people should date for marriage.
Yeah.
Because dating just to mess around kind of messes with somebody's heart and mind, and it kind of screws it all up,
For sure.
I know me personally, I've rushed into a lot of relationships. Looking back, I'm why did I date this person? Why did I mess around with this person? Have you ever been through that?
For sure. I think it's just looking for that affirmation, and you just especially when you're early teens too, you're just looking for someone to affirm you and love you and tell you you're beautiful. But I think it's important to know, like we said before, you have to find your worth and know that you're beautiful.
A lot of people can tell you you're beautiful, but if you don't believe it in yourself, then it's worth nothing.
For sure.
I've heard that quote so many times of people can tell you, you're going to be a success in the future, you're going to win a Grammy, you're going to win a Billboard Music Award, but if you don't believe it, there's no point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's this theory that your first love will be your only love, and that reality of your high school sweethearts, and you want that in the future because you see it in the movies, you see it in the TV shows, you might see it in real life. What do you think of the theory that your first love will be your only love? Because I know that for me, my first love was definitely not my only love. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, your first love is definitely important, and it's it happened for a reason, and it means a lot to you, but it's definitely not your last, because it depends on what age you are too.
Yeah.
When you find the right person, I think that's your true love, and your first love won't really matter, because all that messing around and different guys is all gonna fall away, because that one person that you find in the future, you're gonna know. You're not gonna question yourself, you're not gonna question your feelings. Your first love isn't your last.
Yeah, and I definitely think that you can learn a lot from your first love. I remember my quote-unquote first love was somebody who ended up really messing me up.
Yeah.
Really, breaking my heart. Anything you can think of, it's, happened to me.
Yeah.
And I've definitely learned a lot from my first love. Have you had your first love? Have you learned from it? What do you know about that?
I've had my first love. It taught me to love myself.
For sure.
I went into that relationship, not being confident about myself, and that kind of tore my relationship too, because he would tell me I'm beautiful, and I would doubt that. I would be oh, shut up, I'm not, whatever. Yeah. That doesn't, work that way in a relationship, I feel like. So it definitely, it hurt me, but it taught me.
Yeah. For sure. I definitely know that feeling. I also know how important it is to build a friendship.
Yeah.
Because for me now, looking back on it, like, I have rushed into relationships like we've talked about previously. Friendships, to me, when you build a friendship with somebody, you have that feeling that you can really trust them.
Yeah.
Like, for me, going into relationships where you've kind of rushed into it, it's sort of like you're still hesitant about some things, and there's still some unclear things. Yeah. Of course, going into a relationship, you're not going to know everything about the person if you build a friendship. But if you do have that base, I feel like you can really move forward as friends, as partners, as people in a relationship, and it definitely builds and helps for the future.
For sure.
There's also a theory that, about the high school sweethearts that we mentioned earlier, that your first love won't be your only love. And that, for me personally, I first went into high school wanting a relationship because my parents kind of met after high school. So I was like, oh, I want to meet my high school sweetheart. Yeah. And me going into high school, I was super into like the cheesy high school movies. So I was like, I'm going to find my true love at homecoming. We're both going to be prom king and queen, and we're going to get married. And looking back on it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about the reality of dating in high school? That sometimes it doesn't work out, sometimes it does work out.
I don't know. I feel like in high school, relationships don't always work out.
Yeah.
So I feel like you said, dating to get married honestly is the best option, because
For sure.
Going from guy to guy is just gonna wreck you in the future, and it's not gonna benefit you in the long run. So I think dating in high school, I feel like if you feel like you know what you're doing, if you know what you're looking for, and you're so confident in yourself and you're ready, go for it. But if you're doubting yourself, you don't know who you are, you're still trying to figure that out, definitely don't. Yeah. It's not worth it.
Yeah, and this is not like to degrade anybody who is dating in high school and you feel like you're going to get married, because I know some people who I graduated with that are still with the people that they were dating in high school. Like, props to you. You guys are awesome. Like, I wish your relationship the best of luck. Like, you guys are amazing. But I just think, don't go into high school wanting a relationship and wanting the affirmation. Because not only is it kind of going to mess up your mind and your heart, but it might also mess up your mind in school. For sure. Because you're only going to be worried about who you're going to find and not possibly focusing on your grades, and then you'll find somebody in college or you'll find somebody in your future career. Yeah. You know what I mean? And there's also the theory that people have to change in order to find the one person that they're chasing.
In a relationship, I feel like if you're the one making all the effort and you're the one, making all the moves, and the guy is just like not putting that much effort, that definitely isn't it. You're worth more than that. The guy should be the one going for you and making efforts, talking to you, seeing you, putting effort into a relationship. I feel like so many girls struggle with this. Like, if a guy doesn't accept you for who you are, love you for who you are, he's not it. Like, he really isn't. And I know what it feels like to be head over heels for this guy, but he doesn't think the same way as you, and he doesn't act like you or think the same way or whatever it is. I know what that feels like, but loving yourself and being who you are in a relationship is so important.
Yeah.
And if a guy doesn't see your true values and love you for who you are, then he definitely isn't the right one.
Yeah. And I think there should be some sort of effort in you trying to chase the guy and the guy trying to chase you, because that 50-50. Means that you both want each other and you both are into each other.
For sure.
I think it should definitely be the guy chases the girl, but then the girl also was like, I've been wanting you for a while. Come on, catch up.
Yeah.
But something that I've learned, to love yourself first and not try to pursue the love.
For sure.
Because it just doesn't work, It
doesn't.
So what advice do you have for girls that might be struggling with insecurities on relationships, that sort of thing?
I definitely struggle with being insecure, and I know a lot of girls do. It's you're not alone if you don't like the way you look or whatever it is. You're beautiful, you're worth it. it takes a while to realize that you're beautiful inside and out.
Yeah.
Like, your imperfections and your flaws make you beautiful, and they make you you, and no one is like you. And I feel like going into a relationship being insecure, it kind of makes everything fall apart, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're trying to love someone else, but you're like, oh my gosh, like, I'm insecure about this, and I'm insecure about this, it's holding you back. And it's kind of
for sure
tugging you backwards. And I definitely feel like if you can't love yourself first, then you can't love someone else. Like, you can, but it won't be easy.
Yeah, and this is something you definitely can't learn overnight.
Yeah.
This is something that takes months, years to, like, fully love yourself. And sometimes people don't fully love themselves, you know, in their 60s. There's still some things that they don't like, and that's normal. You know, you definitely shouldn't have to change for somebody. You shouldn't have to try to be the ideal girl. You shouldn't have to, like, pretend to be somebody. And you are all, like, to all the listeners that are listening to this, for one, thank you for listening. But two, like, everybody's beautiful in their own special way.
Yeah.
Like, when they say you're one of a kind, you are literally one of a kind.
Yeah.
Like, nobody else is like you. You know, like I said, this isn't a lesson that you can learn overnight, but it starts and ends with you.
Yeah.
And it might start with you and then end with somebody helping you, and that's normal. Love yourself first, and don't go after somebody, have somebody come after you.
Yeah.
That way you know that you're worth it. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast. This was fun.
It
like,
really
I
was.
feel like this is something that not a lot of people talk about, or like they know, but then they're like, oh yeah, whatever, like brush it off.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. Make sure, classic YouTube outro, like and subscribe. Turn on my bell for notifications. But next week, I hope to also upload. I'm out of school for almost 2 months, but I am still working. But I will hopefully be uploading once a week. I'm not going to dedicate myself to just one day because it's going to stress me out. But just keep an eye out. I'll be posting on all my social medias. Love you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.